Woohoo! Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic post-game show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson. Chris Williams will be joining me in the Wild Rose Casino studio momentarily. But wow, Iowa State beats Kansas State 29-21 for their first 10-game win season. It's so exciting. It feels great to be a Cyclone. We're so excited for them. We'll break down the whole game and all of next week when Chris joins us. But first, let's thank all of our sponsors because we couldn't do it without them. We've got Carl Auto Group. They've been a sponsor of the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network for nearly 10 years. They have locations all over, and you can count on Carl Auto Group for all of your vehicle needs. Make sure you visit carlautogroup.com today. Our friends over at Keen Project Solutions, Cyclone fans, if you're looking for a career that challenges and inspires you, Keen's the way to go. They've been celebrating 10 years of innovative serving ag, industrial, commercial customers with pride. They are hiring and project managers that want to do more than work. They are hiring people that want to make a difference. So super awesome. Make sure you visit thinkdifferentthinkkeen.com to apply. And our friends over at Central States Roofing. They have been a locally owned business for 56 years and counting. They have commercial projects with offices in Des Moines, Ames, and Fort Dodge. You can visit csroofing.com for more. And we've got our friends over at Raymond James. They are, if you're looking for a trusted financial services, you can check out Raymond James. They have offices in Ankeny, Carroll, and Ames. Our friends RJ, Clay, and Chase are here to help. Make sure you visit raymondjames.com/Natusul to learn more. And finally, the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. If you want to see Iowa State take on Kansas State again next year, make sure you visit cyclones2ireland.com. That's cyclones, the number 2, .com to learn more and see how you can book your travel and packages to go to the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. Chris, come on in. You're hype. You're hype. You're excited.
I'm relieved, to be honest. Yeah, I'm watching the crowd. And now we have, and now we just can't enjoy it.
It's right. It is. It's like bittersweet. It's so exciting, but it's like your mind's kind of already on that BYU Houston game.
I'll say this before we get into that: the entire, all these people on the field, all these people watching at home who are hanging out in the comments, you all deserve this no matter what happens with the BYU Houston game. This is still, I had a buddy text me that, and if BYU loses, it means nothing. No, it doesn't mean nothing. It's still a 10-win season, the best season in school history, and, it's still a really special moment, and nothing that happens in Provo tonight can take that away. So just wanted to put that out there. But, yeah, it's a relieving feeling. Iowa State was I thought outplayed in the first half tonight. They were outgained, but they, Leah, they took advantage of turnovers. They put it in the end zone. They blocked a field goal at a key time, missed a field goal at a key time. But this was a very deserved win. I felt like at the end of the game, Iowa State was better than them. I thought John Haycock made some phenomenal calls tonight, ratcheting up pressure on the Kansas State quarterback, Avery Johnson, who didn't like it, especially in key moments. I think Iowa State out-schemed them on that end. Iowa State's offense had a lot to be desired, but I will say this, man, did they come through in times of clutch. You look at Rocco Beck's line. Aiden's got the numbers up for us. 13 of 35 tonight, 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns, Rocco didn't play very well, but in key moments, he was awesome. He was awesome in key moments tonight. Running game, they couldn't run the ball a lick in the first half. Got that thing going in the second half. They kind of brought Carson Hansen in as the closer in this game, 26 for Iowa State. Good, great win. And now y'all are going to be giving us updates on BYU.
Literally, I'm reading the comments right now.
I know this is bad analysis, and I asked Woody to be on with us, by the way, to do the football stuff, but he's actually out on the field right now. So I'm like, Jeff, just go do your thing, celebrate with your former teammates.
Exactly.
I just can't get over the God, I'm such a pussy. 20
are you
years
crying?
doing this, maybe, okay?
Oh, wait, that's so sweet.
20 years, and like I just know so many people who have just hurt so many times, like where they just expect the worst. And when Matt got here, like his goal was to change the way people think, and that's so hard when you have 100 years of losing. It's so hard, and like you're seeing it now, right? Where you just don't expect the worst thing to happen all the time. We've never been like that with Iowa State basketball. We've always been like that with Iowa State football, and I give a lot of shit to the old timers and stuff because y'all are telling me about like 1978 and all this stuff that I wasn't even. This guy over here knows exactly what I'm talking about. And like they're always telling me about these days. I'm like, nobody cares, nobody knows about it. But then when you just lose all the time, you expect it. It becomes part of who you are, and there's been like these little stools along the way for Iowa State, and now like it's at the point where you can have a game like this and you can come into it and you can expect that the worst isn't going to happen. And to me, like that, when I look at like tonight, this was a deal where I think the old school fans are the people I'm happiest for because they were probably the ones expecting to come in here and get kicked in the nads, and and it didn't happen. And I just hope like it's another step up because I truly believe that in this new conference, when it's not David versus Goliath all the time, like 100 years of Iowa State football has been, if Matt's here and they're doing this, like they can be in this position. I don't know about every year because that's hard, but regularly, it's just such a big moment. There's been so many big games here where Iowa State just always fell short, where they couldn't get over the hump, where there's a bad call, or where when he frickin' missed that 20-yard field goal or whatever the hell that was at the end, like I don't blame everybody for tightening up, and that would have gotten maybe every Iowa State team in history up until now. Excuse me, guys. But then, I don't know, Haycock's defense steps up, and even after he missed the field goal, I didn't think they were going to lose. There was a feeling that, this was different. And I don't know what happens. They may not even play next week. I don't know. It still doesn't take away that you win 10 games and that everybody gets to have this moment out on the field, and that's just what I'm happy about. We can talk about the football stuff forever, and it wasn't a perfect game, but Iowa State, like the things that lost them games earlier in the year, specifically that Texas Tech game, that's how they won tonight. When they got in the red zone, they produced, they capitalized off of turnovers, and that's really what this program has to hang its hat on because they're not going to out-talent teams each and every year. It was a great win tonight. I thought the crowd was awesome, and I'm so happy for all these people. Like that's my thing. So. Yeah, I just talked for 25 minutes.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's amazing, and I love that you're showing emotion. It's huge, and I think this is one of those seasons that could really change the way people think about Iowa State football because they didn't play their prettiest, but they still got it done, like you said, and so maybe that's going to rewire a couple people's brains. And now when things start going wrong, it's not like, oh, Iowa State's crapping the bed. It's like, oh, they still got this in the bag. They've done it before, which is huge.
Yeah, and it's all like. You know what I hate? Like, it's so hard to analyze this stuff sometimes because, Leah, you would know this better than pretty much anybody. Like we use the word culture way too much, I think, in sports. I think it's been overused where everybody talks about their culture and like this, like, but that's what Campbell has here. Like when they lost that Kansas game, everybody buried them, including me. I mean, that game was pitiful. Like they're giving up 10 yards per play, and it's just like but they didn't really get a lot of these guys back who were hurt. Their best linebacker at the beginning of the year hasn't played. Right. Their best two, if you count Brazina, he hasn't been there. He hasn't been healthy since the first half of the West Virginia game. They're not getting people back. They go out tonight without their best safety in Verdon. But it really is. It's like 19, that Tayshaun James, that kid gets my game ball tonight. He sucked for 3 weeks. He was a liability. And if he went out onto the field, teams threw at him, and more often than not, he was not there. He comes out tonight and plays the game of his life, right? Like, and that's a culture thing where, you know, he takes to coaching and he just watches a shit ton of film for 3 weeks, and now he's in the right spot. He always had the athletic ability to do it, but they didn't give up on him. They didn't just throw him at the end of the bench. They had faith in him. We've seen at that linebacker position like 10 guys play this year. You don't even know who's going to be out there on week to week. For like 3 games, that young man Rylan Barnes, who deserves a game ball for what he did for this program in the middle of the year without a scholarship. These other guys are getting their NIL money. He's selling T-shirts through Cyclone Fanatic to try and pay rent, right? There's just so many guys in that program that I'll say that I think Iowa State will be in this position again in the next few years. But I don't think they'll use, especially in the new era of college athletics where there's going to be more scholarships and all that stuff, or fewer, I'm sorry. There's going to be that's a whole deal. I don't think that you'll ever see this many guys contribute on a team ever again, just based on what this team went through with the injuries and all that stuff. So
very rare that many student athletes got to touch the field.
Over 100 played, which is just crazy. Like it's really, really crazy. So really happy for everybody. I'm sorry I was a little late. I had to go up and celebrate with the Cyclone Radio Network guys.
As you should. This is huge.
My homies up there, yeah, and like I was, freaking watching Walters and Heft go through their deal. Like it's just so cool. Like it's all about the people,
And then they got to storm the field, which was so cool. What a great experience.
Hey, can we give a shout out to that field too, my guy?
Yes.
That field was great tonight. It was awesome. It just needed to freeze is what it needed to do, apparently. And that field held up great. And it's getting trampled on right now. These students are just eyeing that. They want that.
They want the goalpost?
Yeah. And these poor security people are just staring. We got a stare down going on in the north end zone over there. But have at it. If you're a student, right? I told there's this young man sitting next to me, Payne. He writes for the 247 site. Great kid. He's a senior, and I was like, you need to go down there and run the field with your teammate, with yours. He's like, no, I'm a, he's all professional journalist. I'm like, no, you need to go down there with
you got to experience that.
Go do it. He didn't do it because he's way more mature than I was at that age. But no, it's a neat moment, and now we just got to sit back and root for BYU.
I think they're up. Last time I checked,
14-10 is what I thought I saw it was.
Yep.
Yeah. How are you? Did you enjoy the game? I'm sorry. It's just been me talking.
No, and
you
should. No, you should be the one talking. This one's kind of for you guys. So
it was for me. It's just, man, like these people. Like the best part of my job is the amount of people I've met.
Right.
And like I think of my friends like Brian and Kathy Schimpf, these beautiful humans who my guy Steve Kemp. They just been through hell as an Iowa State fan. It's not an easy thing.
No.
It's just not. And they're still here. Hell, Steve is out there hosting a tailgate for like 20 people tonight. Like it's 10 degrees. He shows up and cooks for them anyways. It's like there's so many good people. And I hope that they all get home safely and then have a crap ton of Cody Road. That's what I'm going to do.
Wait, was that the guy? Are you talking about the guy that was shirtless who
that's
like
Coop.
made your meat at the meat festival?
Yeah. That's Coop. That's Brandon Cooper. He is a legend. Yes. Aiden, if you can pull that picture up of Coop shirtless and
I was cracking up.
Section 30. Man.
Yep. Anytime you guys bring up the meat festival, I just know it's probably crazy.
Yeah, there he is. There he is right there. That was Section 30.
That's
was
a fan.
Section 30 tonight. That is a diehard right there.
There were a few people
awesome.
Like that. When Juicy Wiggle came on, clothes were coming off.
I'm guessing there's going to be some great content.
Yeah.
Because these are the best crowds, though. Like the ones that – because early in the year, you'll get a lot of, like, corporate, like – because it's nice out. Everybody wants to be at the game when it's 80 degrees. These are the diehards.
The diehard fans.
Yeah, and they're the best. I think tonight will dictate a lot of how we remember it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Which is
I don't know
tough,
if it's
but
I don't know if it's the best win in Jack Trice Stadium history,
Right.
but if they go to the title game, like this is, I don't think there's the biggest win in program history. Like on this field, like
Yeah.
there's some other ones that we could all kick around. The Oklahoma State game, but like the Oklahoma State game was huge because it got you on the map, but you didn't really. I mean, you went 6-6 or whatever it was. Like this like really had meaning, like on a national scale. Like the whole country was paying attention to this
Yeah,
game
was
because of what
watching
it
the
meant,
game.
which is awesome.
No, so hype. It is nerve wracking, but I think it was a big game too for the seniors. I mean, like Darian Porter with the block.
Yeah.
Like that was
Oh,
hype
it's-
with the block field goal. And did you see him like jump into Matt Campbell's arms afterwards?
I did. That was really
That
cool.
was awesome.
Well, and Darian's a great story. He's a guy who, one, he probably could have transferred earlier on because he wasn't getting the playing time he wanted, but he stuck around and he just one of those culture guys that, and he's going to get drafted.
Yep.
Like he, I mean, I think Higgins is right there, but I think Porter of all the seniors might have the longest NFL career, and that's a guy who never started.
Right.
He really was never a regular starter. Isn't that crazy?
No, it is saying it, and he's from the Quad Cities, and he could have gone and ran track anywhere. He had like the fastest 400-meter time in Iowa. Insane.
Really neat kid.
Right. So
Yeah.
cool. Wanted to play football. Loved Iowa State, and obviously it's fun to follow him.
Well, and I think it's great too that it's a good example of in this NIL transfer era, like that you can just stick around and you can just develop, right? Like you don't have to. If you're happy somewhere and you feel like you can trust these wide receiver, and now he's going to get drafted as a cornerback. He's one of the best special teams players in the country. He's a really neat story. And like, what about Jaden Higgins though? Comes from Eastern Illinois. Nobody really wanted him. Comes here, and I think he's a top 3 round pick. I think he's the best wide receiver we've ever seen here. Now, I know that Alan Lazard and Hakeem Butler and Todd Blythe might have something to say about that, but I think the NFL draft will agree with me, and he'll be the highest one pick. Jalen Knowles a great story. Guy who comes here and plays as a freshman with Brock Purdy. Leaving here as one of the best receivers and one of the best dudes that you'll ever find. Like there's just a lot of them. I could talk for 5 hours right now, but nobody wants that anymore. They want to kick me off.
Oh, I was like, I love it. It's just cool to see emotion. And like, you know, like obviously this win meant a lot to people, and there were a lot of people saying it wasn't going to happen. So it just feels good.
Well, I mean, honestly, like this was a terrible matchup. Like it really was. In the first half, like I think Iowa State was really fortunate that a couple of those Rocco throws weren't interceptions.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that Kansas State, you know, I've said this a couple times, but like when they've played well, they're the best team in the Big 12, I think. But the problem is they're not consistent, and they have a hard time putting 60 minutes together. And that was certainly the case tonight where they made more mistakes. What did we talk about at halftime, Leah? Like if kind of felt like, okay, just don't shoot yourself in the foot and make the huge error. And they kept doing that, and every time they did it, Iowa State took advantage of it. Mm-hmm. That's it, a little bit, you know, it's the opposite of what Iowa State teams have done in the past. Like, I think back at my time doing this, there's a lot of these big games where you lose, and like Bloom and I still talk about it. We sit around on like Thursday nights drinking in my basement, and we'll go, oh, that game in 2006, you know, and like, and we're talking about it like play by play, like, oh, the woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, I mean, you did it tonight. Did it tonight on the big stage.
That's what I'm talking about. Do you want to talk about, like, do you want to wait to see what the results are with the BYU game, or do you kind of want to talk about as if Iowa State is going to be?
I can't do it.
Okay.
I can't do it, Leah. I just feel like if I start talking, I will ruin it for everybody if I start assuming anything.
That's why I had to ask, and I think let's keep it positive. So.
Yeah, no, it is positive. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, clearly it does. You want to go play for the championship. But even if you don't, 10-2 is the best season in school history. And as I just looked at the comments for the first time, overcame some demons tonight here in Jack Joyce. This is a game. Every person coming into here tonight had some nervous energy. I can promise you that. And when he missed that 37-yard field goal, though, I mean, don't tell me you didn't freak out a little. Didn't you puke a little bit in your mouth? A little bit?
It was kind of like something had to happen like that because it's Iowa State. Like it was like not just like I wasn't surprised.
Well, and then I said this when they had to kick the field goal on like the 3-yard line to go up 8. Like, of course they couldn't just punch it in right there. That would be way too easy.
No, exactly. It's too easy. It wouldn't have been as fun. People's heart rate wouldn't have gone up, and then that's no fun either. So you probably wouldn't have cried as much.
I didn't cry until I got on the air with you. I was watching these people on the field, and like it's like old people charging the field. Like that's what got me. Like
that's on TV. That I was like, where are all the students? Oh yeah, on break, and it was awesome to see like from little kids to old men and women.
Yeah, I mean it's a night regardless. Again, whatever happens in this other one, the memory of tonight will never be taken. Now it may be short lived.
Right. Till about what? What is it? The third quarter, second quarter?
It might be short-lived, but you'll never be able to take that away from these people, which is awesome. And I'm proud of, and really impressed by Campbell's team too, because they looked like shit in that Kansas game. I don't believe this, but my wife said this to me today. She's like, I just hope they look like they want to be there like they had the last. Because a lot of people went to Kansas City, and that was just kind of the vibe they gave off. Mm-hmm. Now, I believe the team was so banged up. I think that they, these season they go in ebbs and flows, right? And I think that was the rock bottom, and they picked themselves back up, which is why I'm impressed. Right. Because not everybody could do that.
They could have easily just finished the whole season and shit the bed. Excuse my language.
Oh, I mean, I've said all sorts of things tonight, so no. I mean, listen, and if they do get to Dallas, it's going to be a tough matchup. That's a really good rushing attack by Arizona State, but it would be a really fun game. I mean, Dillingham, the head coach over there, is one of the most fun guys in college football right now. Scadaboo's one of the best players in college football. Bring it on. Like that would be really, really freaking cool. And with a lot of stuff that's happened today in college football, I do think that you're playing for an automatic bid in the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. I do think, like with Miami losing, the way South Carolina took care of Clemson, this was a good day. BYU's got to win, but the Big 12 getting shut out of the playoff. Tulane lost earlier in the week. There's a lot of things that happened that were good for the league this week.
And whatever happens, happens, and everything happens for a reason. I'm a strong believer in that. So. If it helps you sleep better at night.
Oh, man. I'm not sleeping tonight. Again, I've been drinking pre-workout and Red Bulls.
Yeah. Is that what's in your water bottle?
Pre-workout, yeah.
How are you going to celebrate tonight, even if it's short-lived?
I'm going to drink Cody Road whiskey.
Period.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to go home and pour me a glass of. I got one more of my favorite bottles. It's the single barrel rye from Cody Road, and I'm going to pop that bad boy open tonight, and I'm going to drink it all by myself in my basement while my little girls sleep. I'll have Diffie with me, my little
dog.
Boy. Yeah,
so cute.
Diffie will be with me. He'll be humping me and doing all that kinds of jazz, but we're going to have ourselves a night.
I don't even know how to respond to you sometimes.
You obviously, you're just getting started, buddy.
I know. But I thought by the end of the regular season it would be something. I'm
like an onion. You're just gonna keep peeling off layers.
Yep, and I love it, and I'm glad I got to experience this with you. This has been like the most fun season ever.
Well, I hope you'll come back. You're gonna be
1,000%.
You'll be here for basketball too.
Well, but like, come on, basketball. This is lit.
Yeah, this is cool. Well, we got a Big 12 championship show hopefully coming up next week. Coming up next week.
Thanks again to our sponsors.
All of our sponsors, and and we wouldn't have sponsors if it weren't for all the viewers and listeners, and this little deal that you and me have been doing here, and Jeff's been a part of the last few weeks is I'm hopeful. Like, when I called you about it, like we're wanting to build something here so fans can just kind of rely on us on game days with men's and women's basketball too. So we're just getting started. And Aiden as well. Who's this Kennedy who's always – this Kennedy is always hyping up Aiden in the comments.
She's our biggest fan.
Well, hello,
And
Kennedy.
she said, and Chris and Aiden this time. Usually it's just Aiden and I.
God bless you. Somebody asking me to show the field. There's nothing on. Everybody's gone now. They did not get the goalpost. Props to the Permar security folks. They kept those sons of guns away from the goalpost. So I don't even think you can tear down a goalpost anymore. I thought they were all like impossible.
Chris, you can do whatever you put your mind to.
This is true. All right, I got to go do the Learfield post-game show.
Yeah, have fun celebrating. Good luck. I hope your heart rate comes down a little bit from your pre-workout. And
We'll see. We'll worry about that. We'll worry about that in 10 years.
oh, my goodness. All right. Well, thanks so much. Thanks
Appreciate
for
you.
listening, everyone.